Bill Butler. I'm the Director of Creative Design with Butler Holt Productions. I was overseeing our overall creative efforts for the Mine Ride refurbishment here, which meant that we came up with the original concepts for new scenes, new characters, new audio, and new technological improvements to the attraction, which included the RFID voiceover narrative system for the trains, all the new show systems in the explosion tunnel, the fog, the projections, the mechanical systems, and all 120 figures in the attraction, including 48 human characters and dozens of animals.
Since this was Knott's first major ride, what design angles and aspects did that, or what challenges did that create for you?
Well, for one thing,
in keeping the character true for the ride.
Got it. The Mine Ride is not just a first for Knott's Berry Farm, it's a first for theme entertainment in general. It's one of the first attractions in the world that is a big scenic mountain that looks good from both inside and out. So its facade is a realistic mountain sculpture, and the inside continues that. Everywhere you look, 360 degrees, the rock work is complete. You're really immersed in an attraction with full-size human characters. That was rare in its time. Even Disneyland had no attractions with full-size human characters in it in 1960 when this ride opened. So it was really a pioneering attraction, both for this park and for others. As a result of that, however, it was an attraction very much rooted in 1960s design and infrastructure. There were no compressed air lines or Ethernet or anything like that that we needed to make a modern attraction with animatronics, with special effects, lighting, audio, all that sort of stuff. Our biggest challenge was just the infrastructure of this mountain.
And how does it make you feel knowing that this ride outlived the Disneyland ride?
Well, one thing, the Mine Ride outlived the Disneyland versions of the Mine Ride, first through Rainbow Caverns and then through Nature's Wonderland, because this ride is a true mining experience. Those attractions were more about the outdoor environment. They took up a lot of land. This attraction has one of the most genius ride layouts in the entire world. It's relatively compact, and yet it has several thousand feet of linear travel throughout. It survived because it has a superior design, because it's key to the heart of this park, and it's just a genius attraction in of itself, a masterpiece by Bud Hurlbut.
And you mentioned Bud Hurlbut. How were you able to continue his legacy in this ride without kind of damaging what he was hoping to do?
In 2001, Bud Hurlbut gave an interview to the E-Ticket magazine in which he said that he wished that he could have gotten back into the Mine Ride and the Log Ride and continue to develop new technologies, new characters, and apply them to the stories he was telling. In 1960, when this attraction opened, there weren't animatronics. They didn't exist yet. Disney hadn't invented them. There was nothing commercially available in order to make things look realistic. So there are some simple motorized characters that were involved with that. But we think that Bud, if he'd had the money, the opportunity, the time, would have done just what we did now. He would have included these new technologies in order to say, this isn't a place that's full of characters that look like miners, it's full of moving, real miners from the 19th century. And in that way, I think that we're really continuing Bud's legacy while we're preserving the best parts of it.
That's great. And what would you want someone to know about the ride that has never, been on the ride before?
One of the things I always thought was funny about the Mine Ride and the previous versions of it is we're in this huge gold mine. There's all sorts of activity going on, and yet there was no gold. Absolutely no gold to be found. And so that's one thing that we wanted to do with the new version of this attraction, where we have seldom seen Slim, who's preserved in statue form out of the corner of the beach in La Palma, inside the mine with a big gold nugget that actually has real 24-karat gold leaf involved with it. So that's something new that we added to this that we think is a unique feature.
That's great. And I heard you were able to re-record some of the organ music for the cavern scene. Is this true, or how did you go about doing that?
That's right. Bill Reyes was a huge fan of this attraction, continues to be. And he wanted to replicate the audio for the organ music because the original had deteriorated to such an extent that it was kind of just an echo, a shadow of what it had once been. And so he created a synthesized version of it that is a perfect match using the original score to the original version of the audio. And so with his very dedicated work purely out of his love for this attraction and Bud Hurlbut's legacy, we have something that's a digital re-recording, a brand new version that is more true to the original, almost than the original.
Are you guys going to be able to bring back Kingdom of the Dinosaurs? Have you heard anything about that?
We'd sure love to get a shake over there at the old KOD building. That would be a dream come true for us.
What about any zombies? Are there ever going to be zombies on this ride?
We understand that this will continue to be part of Haunt, so folks are being sensitive to the new additions that we've made in there, but also we're able to utilize the amazing new tools that have been put in place here at the Mine Ride and the Log Ride. New lighting, projection effects, audio systems, animatronics, all of these things can be repurposed fairly simply to create an entirely new experience that will have very little impact on the real show quality once we want to turn it back into the classic Mine Ride experience.
And did you have any issues with the install as far as timetable goes? Were there any major hiccups along the road?
We had considerably more time to design, build, and install the Mine Ride than we did the Log Ride. All told, we built 58 different characters for the Log Ride in about 4 months. For this attraction, we have 120 figures. We had about 6.5 months to do it. That's an enormous difference and a world of change for us. So the biggest challenge is we're working with the 1960s building that behind the scenes is about as difficult to get around as you can imagine, walking through a bunch of tunnels that were carved out by miners and ants. It's a very difficult thing to get through. So that was a challenge, as opposed to a big empty box like most attractions are in. This one has a labyrinthine series of tunnels, staircases, and walkways behind the scenes that are a little bit difficult to navigate.
Well, thank you. I appreciate your time.
Absolutely.